Baby.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen some of these faces.
I know.
Elena, hi, are you?
You
Oh my
brought your,
goodness, look at your baby.
Hi.
oh, you
You want to meet
brought
the
him.
newest team member?
Look.
Oh,
Oh,
Good morning,
awesome
everybody.
love.
good morning,
Hi,
Dan.
Dan.
Morning.
Come
Oh,
up with
Looking
a name.
forward to this, Deb.
I'm
Yes.
glad. Actually, Dan, I'm glad you're here. If you could stay on just a little bit after, I have a couple of questions for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Um,
And I've got
Elena,
someone that's still
Elena,
trying to join.
how is he compared to Mateo? Different baby?
They're pretty similar. He's a
they?
good baby. He just
Yeah.
doesn't like to sleep on his back. So he's just once as soon as you put him down, he cries, wants to be picked up. But so he's a spoiled little guy. He's 1 month. 1 month.
You can't spoil a baby under a year old,
No,
okay?
I
That's
know. I
really
know.
I
clear.
genuinely believe that.
No, I'm just joking, but he loves to be snuggled up. So who wouldn't like to be snuggled up?
Hmm.
Oh, oh, thank you for joining us. Well,
Yeah,
thank
I'll be
both of
on
you.
and off, but
It's funny, all the, kids and grandkids and extra kids and, bonus kids and that have joined us on these calls. I always joke that they're either going to be the most amazing entrepreneurs or run screaming from owning their own business.
well,
So
Mateo has his own little business.
I know. Tell them about Mateo's business.
He has a lemonade stand business called Squeezy Beezies that he came up on his own. And it's called Squeezy Beezies because it's lemonade made with honey. So
Mhm.
Squeezy Beezies. He has a logo. We bought a website. He's working on business plan. He has people that come and work for him. We had to talk about because he was like, oh, we made X and he's paying it out. I'm like, well, you got to pay back your costs. You're the owner,
Yeah.
so you might want to make more than what the other. So, it's like a mini MBA for him.
Oh,
I love it. That is so cool.
Yep, yep.
One of my goals is still to create a not-for-profit for kid culinary business owners and call it the Kick-Ass Lemonade Stand. I still want Mateo as one of kind of the brand kiddos, especially how gorgeous his hair is. So
Let me know. He's up for
well,
it.
that way that gives, money for college or culinary school or start a business or, whatever. It's one of my big goals. So I see other people joining us. We
I'm
have
letting them in.
we have about 50 or so people signed up for the call. That means 49 will come in, or we'll have about 12. So we never know. And since all of you are entrepreneurs, what happens is you think, okay, I have 7 minutes. In 7 minutes, I can make a phone call, plan a couple of menus, and just do one more thing, and then I'll show up. So
Mhm.
know what each of you guys are thinking, but I see familiar faces. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Right.
Lee, Dan, Rhonda, Alicia. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. I feel like it's warm hugs through the screen.
Some good stuff.
I know. Okay.
I know
We
Kathy, hi Kathy, I see Kathy emailed me earlier to say that she may have to do some cooking through this. So, but she could not miss it. So I'm so
Yeah.
thankful she's here.
I've heard from a few people this morning that they may have to turn it on while they're cooking. I mean, that's just the nature of what we do. Um, I heard, yeah, I've got a lot of emails and stuff and text. That's okay.
If
Thank
y'all want to, Deb, if you want to go ahead and start, it's 5 after
I
the
am.
hour, and I will just watch to let people in.
Okay, yeah, there'll be more people coming in and out. So, I want to say, first of all, thank everybody for coming. The reason why I wanted to put together this particular workshop is because whether you're in coaching or not, the conversations I have had with many of you guys in coaching versus what I'm seeing on just many of the chef Facebook groups and, other podcasts or things is this has been a harder summer than most. Like, let's be honest, most of the time in culinary, it's it's a reduction during the summer some by any percentage. And in my, excuse me, in my own personal experience with Savor, we're typically down 30% or so. And for those of you that are new to the group or listening to the recording, Savor is my company that provides personal chef services, private flight catering, and regular, just kind of traditional catering, all for our higher end clientele. We use culinary medicine as our entire brand. We've been in business for over 21 years now, and everything from a commercial kitchen, delivery vehicles. I think I'm up to about, as of today, 15 staff members. So that when you hear me say something about Savor, that's what I'm referring to where Savor is concerned. This is the first time ever that Savor has been down by almost 60%. Whereas before it was about 30%. And so I spent the entire summer trying to figure out one, buyer behavior, but also two, how to never let this happen again. Well, the fruits of that labor has now yielded waiting lists on not only Monday, but Tuesday, but Wednesday now. And more coming in, we can't hire staff fast enough. However, I will not hire staff in for lack of bandwidth. That's not fair to them, and it's not fair to my staff. So the experts I'm bringing on the call today, I'm going to ask them a series of questions, and then we're going to open up the floor for any questions you may have. I'm really, really glad that Elizabeth is our first speaker, because I kind of, this is Elizabeth Tilton. I kind of divulged to her earlier that there was some little bit of more ulterior motives than just to ask her some questions, and you guys will understand why whenever we're done here. So Elizabeth is a prominent figure in the hospitality industry, having founded Oyster Sunday, a comprehensive hospitality studio. I'm going to have her explain a lot more about that. She established that in October 2019. The company has since supported hundreds of businesses across various sectors of the food and beverage industry, offering services ranging from concept development to financial strategy and marketing. Tilton's impressive career spans from working in renowned restaurants in New Orleans to holding key positions at Momofuku in New York City, where she managed high-profile partnerships and expansion of strategies. Her entrepreneurial spirit has led her to launch OS Benefits in July 2021, pioneering affordable health insurance for the hospitality industry. Prior to Oyster Sunday, she played a crucial role at W&P, overseeing the launch of over 300 culinary products and collaborating with major brands. Her diverse experience and innovative approach to hospitality has established her as a leader in the field, constantly driving growth and improvement in the industry. So thank you, Elizabeth. Just by that bio, you can probably understand there's many reasons, if you guys know me, of why I wanted her here, not just for some of these questions. So let's get started with some of these questions. Heather, are we recording? I just want to make sure.
1 second. Yes, it says pause
Okay.
or stop recording, which means we are recording.
Okay. Okay. Elizabeth, so first question, I know that your company, Oyster Sunday, helps startups to establish businesses in many areas, to include concept development, to investor support, to operations consulting, HR branding, and websites. How has this been financially for you, for your owners? So I'm going to ask this a different way. In other words, has it been tough or no change or better than normal? So let me kind of wrap a bow around this. Because you do all these things in culinary, you have the opportunity to work with a lot of culinary business owners. So, and because you work in so many of these concepts, what are you seeing change over time with buyer behavior and the way they're making decisions?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Everyone, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm down here in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I'm not in my normal, I was just mentioning to Deb before the call started, not my normal backdrop because I'm with my family because there's a hurricane here this afternoon. So we got on this call just in time. And speaking of pivoting and changing of plans and how all these restaurants in New Orleans had to close down for the next 48 hours, it feels only appropriate to be talking about business and revenue streams.
Yes.
So thank you for having me. I would say that, when I launched Oyster Sunday in 2019, I joke that our entire life has been spent as a business in chaos, right? So we launched October 2019, went straight into a pandemic, and then had to kind of really weather that all the way through. So we were seeing really behaviors of businesses in a very concentrated and extreme stress period of time. I think that we don't have to go back and hark back on COVID at all. But I bring it up because what we did learn during that process is that there's cycles. We're seeing cycles of behavior. We're seeing cycles. We would see something happening in the Northeast that is going to drop south, right? Let's say a variant or things of that nature. What we also know is that when it comes to business in a more stable period, as we'll put in quotes, when just basically normal business behavior, more normal cadence of the year, one thing we super rely on, and it's something I'm very data driven and tech enabled. So we really always sit there and say, if the data shows it, it's true, right? So we know that if we can see businesses particularly if they've been in business for a couple of years, we can see their buying behavior, we can see their revenue streams, we can see the summer how much it does dip. And Deb, as you mentioned earlier, that 30 to 60% difference is enormous, but we always know in the summer it will drop. So how do you spend the other 9 months preparing for that is really at the top of mind that we think about. And how do you get creative in those 3 months to either stay lean, to have cash reserves, or to get creative in terms of ideation and what things you can put out to market. I would say, to answer your question about what are we seeing now, is it better or worse or the same? I think that honestly, 2023 was a very brutal year. And I think we're seeing the kind of long tail of that. For me, it was much more it wasn't about the COVID variants, but rather it was about the macro economic behavior, right? So we were dealing with everything from inflation going up, as the Silicon Valley Bank crashing, that it really invested in a lot of small businesses, invested in startups and CPG brands. But to me, that was what I could see and diagnose was it's going to impact businesses for months to come, right? And years to come. And I think what we saw is, because we are able to see pre-business opening, so we're looking at investment models, we're looking at building investment decks, financial models. We were seeing that we had a bunch on the table in January, and they all paused because no one wanted to go into real estate. No one wanted to go into that kind of inflation, like, buying property at that rate. And so we knew that was going to be that the pattern of behavior was going to last for 6 to 8 months. And so then from there, that's what we started being like, oh, it's not going to be just businesses that are active now. The buying behavior is going to trickle down to every element of purchasing. So that's going down to the end consumer, that's going to the restaurant, that's going to developers, that's going to all these people are going to sit on inventory and not move forward until they have more preferable, rates. So I felt that the long tail of that was really felt this summer, in my opinion. I think we're going to be coming out of it, particularly if the federal government is able to kind of move to change the inflation rate and kind of really think about that going into the fall. But I think 2023, people were really spooked. I'll speak for ourselves too, in terms of investing in teams, and we kind of sat there and said, steady the ship and hold on to cash reserves was my plan in 2023, and what we told our operators. So I would say that it's going to get better, but I would say 23 into 24, particularly this summer, was really brutal. We're hearing it across the board, even in summer like even our operators here in New Orleans, that when summer comes, it's like New York in January, right? There's everyone's quiet on every front. And people are feeling it more this year. And I think it's because their cost of goods are higher, their labor is higher, their insurance is higher, their health insurance is higher. Not only do they have the stress of potentially lack of purchasing from their their guests, but they also have an extreme amount of administration cost. So I'm hoping that that will start to stabilize as the market gets better. And I think it is. I think that people are optimistic that depending on, and I think people are really spooked for November, trying to figure out who will be at the helm of this nation and what decision will be made economically. So I think I think after we get past November, there'll be a spring of hope. I hope that we feel.
So what you're saying is over a year ago or about a year ago is when you kind of saw this coming down the pipeline, that this buyer behavior was changing and going to change, not only because of, you know, what's going on in the political climate, but also just spending behavior. I was in like I was saying, the CEO level, like mastermind, and yesterday, and these are like 10 million $10 million business owners and up. And one of the things that they all said is that they're seeing the influence of just of how they're watching everything increase, and the bandwidth and the available funds of their ideal client is just less because of how much everything has increased. And so what they're noticing is they're either reducing services with them, and there was everything from scrap metal to banking. I mean, it was this wide variety. And so they are now having to make some hard decisions of, do I pay what's right in front of me? Or do I now, you know, do all these other things that was, you know, that I had in my life to kind of elevate or enhance it?
Yeah,
So,
I think we are lucky though in our industry that experiences will continue to reign supreme over
sure.
purchased goods or over because I think we hear time and time again. I'm a big believer that retail is not dead, but bad, you know, not creative retail is.
Right.
But I feel the same way in terms of when we talk to our operators is I ask them for, it could be anything from a food truck all the way to a multi-unit hotel group. The question I always ask them is, one, what is your point of view? How do you stand out in the market? And number two is, what does success look like to you right now? Because if you can identify those two things and keep that in the forefront and make sure your guest knows that, it's really important because you're constantly beating that drum, and it should impact your day-to-day service, what your offerings are. And I think that I bring that up only because the consumer is so educated and they're making more informed decisions around what they spend their money on and their resources. And I think that the more that you have a particular point of view, it helps you stand out to why they would come to you for your services.
So I love two things that you said in that particular statement that you just made, because everybody in this group, at some point we've had a conversation with about two things. One, when you offer an experience, not just food, not just good customer service, when you offer an experience to your client, they're going to pay for that. But the other thing you said that was very unique, and you kind of glossed over it, and it's something that, again, in this group, we've all had conversations about, is it's different to build a brand. It's different to push marketing to that brand. It's very different to build a beautiful brand that your ideal client will want to buy from you. The goal in all of that, and the secret that it seems like has become more and more powerful and needed over the years, is a differentiation of your brand. How do you become kind of a business of one, where you are so different in your space that you become the obvious choice?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
we're learning that's becoming more and more. No longer can you say, you know, great customer service, great food, here's pretty food pictures, you know, or I'm going to send a chef into your home, or, you know, we have the best cooking classes. It doesn't work that way anymore. It's a uniqueness and it's an experience, and it makes you, well, how do you stand out from? So thank you for saying that. You had mentioned in the first question I asked you, you said you were going to give some tips and ideas of what some of your business owners have done during the summer to either fill the gap in business or do things that will create more money later. Could you speak to that?
Absolutely. I'll give a couple of examples that come to mind immediately is, for example, we work with some boutique hotels, and there was one, a lot of them do a lot of, I mean, offerings are always helpful, but really kind of creating incentive for the area or local tourism. So there'll be discounts, let's say the Gulf Coast. There's discounts to, if you come join us, you can have 15% off your rooms. We've done things where we put on a menu in a hotel where it had the full menu, and on the bottom it said the ultimate nightcap, and you could actually buy a room that night at a discounted rate for if there's vacancy. So
Oh, wow.
indulging in, yeah, so you're having cocktails, and at the bottom of the cocktail list it says the ultimate nightcap. And because if we have vacancy in the rooms, there's no reason not to sell that, even at a lower rate. We've also done things where there's a really funny dive bar in another city. We did that's in the South, and it was above. It was called 98 Degrees, and it was using the 90. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with the 98 Degrees boy band, but if it got above 98 degrees, any frozen cocktail was 50% off. And we ran it for the summer. It's just, I think what it is about being cheeky. It's like, so if someone's at the top of your mind, how do you become you become top of their mind when they're trying to make decisions that day? Or if it rains, there's an incentive, like things that you would normally see as a business as a deterrent. How do you lean into them further? So again, we've seen things where it's 50% off cocktails when it rains, or free champagne when it rains, or if you're dining alone, we always give you a splash of wine, right? So it's more making a guest feel loyal, and you being top of their mind. One other thing I want to touch on loyalty real quick is that to me is really where again, with the point of view and who you are, but I think it's always trying to think about, it's not a matter of getting, as we talk in like marketing terms, the top of the funnel, right? Where you're just trying to get impressions, interest, people knowing about your company. But as you go further and further down the funnel, the loyalty being the most important at the end. And I think that people are learning. I don't know if you can raise your hand if you're familiar with a company called Blackbird here on the call.
Yep.
It's a new loyalty program launched by Ben Leventhal, who started Resi and started Eater. And I just think that a lot of companies are coming out, just for a little, something that I'm observing is coming out around loyalty. So it's more of, how are you cultivating over 12 months a loyalty program? How are you sending reminders to people once, if they had an event a year ago, how are the events coming up, being top of their mind? So these are things that we really see on our end as very important. I would say too, in terms of some strategy in the summer, I think that there's a lot of creative ideas you can put out into the world to incentivize people and guests to come in and dine with you. But I also think what's important is not necessarily, there's going to be a gap in sales. If that's, again, going back to data, if that's something that you're seeing every year in your business, believe it. It's going to happen again, right? It's not going to change the next year. Particularly if that behavior is happening, you can make incremental amounts and changes, but it was a 30% drop, as I'll continue to use that number. It could be 25%, but you should plan on it. And I think that what you should do is thinking about in those times is, how do you stay as lean as possible? Like, this comes down to inventory purchasing, labor. We've seen interesting things where people, even thinking about going to benefits, which we'll talk about in a moment, is, can we close the entire restaurant down or the entire service down for a week? Because sometimes you'll realize, if you run the numbers, it's actually more advantageous for you as a business to do so than to have labor and to have food costs and inventory purchasing. It's all cash held up, right, for inventory purchasing. I mean, obviously you have your administration costs, your point of sale system, your inventory management, whatever you're using on a tech stack will always be evergreen, but it gives you a week even to sit there, and you as a business owner to like think about your tech stack, to clean things up, to do the stuff, but also to reduce the burn or to reduce the overhead in a week. And it's a value add to your business and to your team, so they can plan their lives. Because we've learned that PTO is an enormous benefit for a lot of operators and for their teams to have, is for them to know what their schedule is going to be. But I hope that helps, Deb. I could go into a bunch more examples, but I kind of wanted to share a couple of very unique, innovative ones, because I think in the summer, particularly if you're, I guess one last one I'll say, I'm sorry, but remember that other businesses are also, if I go back to the example of hotel, they're also trying to create creative ways of getting people into their doors. So we've seen caterers that have done popsicles or ice cream carts in the front of hotels and have partnered up with other companies to really sit there and say, okay, we both need guests, and my service will help your service and have an amenity or a value add, like poolside, right? Poolside cocktails, poolside ice cream, whatever it may be, and actually leveraging those connections and becoming part of their ecosystem. So you create these Venn diagrams of exposure to new guests that maybe you haven't seen before.
You know, I love the concept of joint venturing. There was somebody in coaching many years ago that came up with the idea of partnering with a local ice cream company in town, and they did ice cream pairings with savory multi-course dinners.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you have everything from, you know, gelato to, you know, regular ice cream to, I mean, they even melted the ice cream and turned it warm to, I mean, to make a sauce out of. They did all kinds of things. It's interesting what you said too, not only joint venturing, but the second thing that was interesting is that the last minute. There's so many faces on this call that I thought, oh my gosh, what you could do is put out that, you know, hey, next week, because we have some owners that do personal chef work and they send people into people's homes. So there's people like that on the call that you can, you know, automatically put out next week. If you're in town, we have this date and this date opening. If you're, you know, no contracts, no memberships. If you're thinking of, you know, having the experience of a personal chef. People that do catering on the call can easily do the same thing of next week. If you thought about having a pool party or, you know, just a friends get together, we have these days and these times available. We're happy to, you know, give you an additional bonus of X, whatever that is. But there's a lot of people I know that in summer that whenever they are back in town, they kind of sit on the fence and say, back in town, I should get my friends together. But they assume that they can't book catering or service or, you know, cooking class or whatever the thing is that you do while you're on this call. So, but this is also the power of social media and also having a list. Listen, for everybody that is in coaching, have you heard the word list and how important it is to have a list and talk to them on a regular basis? This is where you will find money, is here. The other thing that I love that you said was you have to plan for it. Some people are so shocked that they're like, oh my God, where'd all the clients go? I'm like, well, it is summer and you chose to be in culinary. A little bit is this on your end of don't be shocked. We have to plan for this now. So I'm really glad that you said that.
Deb, if I can add one more thing real quick to the point about list is
Yeah.
one thing we always tell our restaurant partners is that there's 3 things you own: your website, your email, and your social media. Those are the 3 only ways you can talk to people besides advertisement. Assuming I talk about native owning and what you own in terms of just content out. So to Deb's point, I can't stress enough how important it is to drive people to your email sign up, because it's just a very nice way of instead of cold calling or reaching out individually, you're able to just to kind of cast the net routinely. And it's such a value add to your business to have that as an option. And there's, I mean, things like MailChimp, and it's such an easy way to like design quickly and to get out and have a very low cost, or even sometimes Squarespace has it built into their websites. So I just having a way that all your websites have a pop-up to collect email that people are consenting to, in your contract saying, I agree that I can add this, I can add my email as part of your clauses and part of your terms and conditions, is I agree to add my email into your mailing list. And then setting reminders if you have a CRM or some way of tracking, like if you know someone did a summer party last year, reach out to them a month in advance. You know, if it's a birthday party, because you want to, or 2 months in advance, because you want to be on their radar. And I think people are making decisions that 90 to 60 days out. And as you know, going into holiday, we're thinking about Q4 now, big time. But it's August and September where those conversations seem to be had.
And that's, you know, even more to the fact of whenever you constantly are the one working in your business and not on it, you can't lift your head up 60 to 90 days, ahead of time to put these things in place. That's why it's so, so important that, we remove ourselves from business, because we have so many people here that are operators, and then some people have removed themselves from the business. But unless you are able to consistently do things to market and grow your business, and you're working in it all the time, you're going to feel it so painfully in the summer. So, Elizabeth, I could talk to you for days and hours. I'm sure everybody else can. What I want you to do, if you'll take about the next 5 minutes, and just introduce Oyster Sunday, what it does, but more importantly, for all of our brains, because we're all, they're going to need this, and I will need it too, is once you introduce it, kind of explain how people use you, like how do they use the services, so we can know how to implement it in what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Oyster Sunday, the name itself actually stands for operating system. So my background, as mentioned, I used to cook. I was in pastry, but was pre-med before that, and kind of went rogue and decided to cook. And but really what we consider ourselves to be is like a corporate office for independent operators. So we have worked with food trucks all the way up to 23 unit hotel groups. And for us, what we go back to is that if you're independent and have a point of view and you're in hospitality, we're here to support you. Every one of you have a team and strengths on your own that really make up your business and makes it unique. And what we want to do is come in and say, okay, but you don't have to be the CEO, the CMO, the COO, the janitor, the line cook, all of these functions. So what we do is come in and say, okay, where are your strengths, and where potentially are some of your blind spots, and how can we come in to support you? It could be for a month, it could be for 3 months, it could be for 3 years. To us, all of those for us are success. And our services include financial strategy, investment decks, thinking through growth, all of your just financial forecasting in general. We do HR, we do operations, SOPs, and the website is oystersunday.com. And thank you. And we do brand development and marketing. So we really soup to nuts, anything that doesn't touch the food or open the door every day for hospitality. That's where your, brilliant minds and team come in. But we really consider ourselves to be that really a thought. I prefer strategic partner over consultant, because we're operators to our core is what we do. One thing that got brought up in the bio is that we did launch a second company. It's called OS Benefits. And kind of going back to pre-med roots is that we are really seeing that a huge issue is people don't have access to meaningful and health insurance and benefits in the hospitality industry. I know that I had to constantly choose between my rent and my health when I was in New York, and it shouldn't be that way. So what we've done is spent the last 3 years building and negotiating ACA compliant nationwide healthcare, which we have secured as of May. So we're started rolling that out to small businesses. You could be a team of 2, a team of 10, a team of 200. You're able to buy into our healthcare plans as part of an association and actually receive meaningful care that fits your budget for both the team and the employees, and for the business. You can choose your contribution level. It's, they're very comprehensive. So if you ever want to talk about that, we're happy to. It's a big passion of mine. Oyster Sunday is a team of 20 with amazing independent contractors all the way down, like our full team plus independent contractors, and OS Benefits is just hitting the ground running. So if you want to talk about it, happy to make time.
So what's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
Daniel, thank you for the question. It's oystersunday.com. And you can, and it's oyster as in oysters, and then Sundays in the day. Sometimes I get asked if it's a Sunday, like an ice cream Sunday. It is indeed not. It is the day of the week. And so oystersunday.com. And then you can find me directly at Elizabeth at oystersunday.com.
Okay. I wanted you to also say that verbally, because I know that it's going to be on the recording, because some people actually do listen to these recordings in the car while they're cooking and doing other things, and that way they can contact you directly. I see a lot of wheels turning I know you just see faces, but I can read a lot of their faces. I see a lot of wheels turning. So, it's been invaluable what you created. It's such a need for all of us. And, I know from experience, I've tried to institute some of these, we'll call them benefits in traditional ways, and it just didn't work because they did have to make a decision. So one, thank you for creating it, and two, I know I'll be in touch as well. So we have time just for one question, and then we're going to bring on our next speaker. Does anybody have any questions that you want to ask her before we bring on our next speaker? And I know you can email her as well. Anybody have a burning one that we need to ask? I'm looking around. Okay, awesome. Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth, so
Great.
much.
Thank y'all so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good rest of the day. And
Bye, Elizabeth.
Stay
goodbye.
dry.
Thank y'all.
Stay
Thank you.
dry.
We'll do our best.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. It's pretty great, huh? I she taught, I listened to her speak at a workshop I went to several months ago. And I went to every one of her presentations. I think there were 4, because I just kept learning more and more and more about the uniqueness of what her company does. And I was just so impressed with her, and just, her giving as well. I'm actually going to ask her to come and be, for those of you guys in coaching, to do an expert speaker call, so you can have more one-on-one access to her, and ask her some more questions as well, so that we can, all learn from her. So I want to bring on our next speaker, and Melissa, thank you for your patience. This is many of you know Melissa, but for those of you that do not, this is Melissa. I've known you forever, and I'm still gonna say your last name wrong. Okay, Melissa, say your last name.
Vyaxarek.
Okay, there you go. Is a business coach, teacher, and culinary entrepreneur of nearly 20 years. She's co-owner and managing partner of Zest Culinary Services, along with her amazing business partner, Theo, a customized prepared meal delivery and boutique catering company located in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Melissa has an MBA in marketing from Temple University, is passionate about entrepreneurship as she is about creating culinary solutions for her clients. She enjoys sharing her expertise with others through business coaching, speaking engagements, and she also teaches at Delaware Valley University, where she's an adjunct instructor, small business management and marketing of agricultural products. Oh, I remember you saying something like agricultural products. Okay. One of the reasons why I wanted to have Melissa on the call today is not only because of her background that I just read, but while Melissa and Theo were in coaching, I was always so impressed with Melissa's calmness when it came to the summer. And Melissa was always very matter of fact about how she and Theo planned for the summer. And because they planned for the summer, it gave them an opportunity to do lots of things during the summer that they didn't have an opportunity to do during the rest of kind of go time. But it also gave them unique opportunities to build some things. So, and just kind of catch up on some things. I was always impressed with the planning in such a different way than what many have done. So we're going to kind of talk about some of that today with Melissa, and kind of give you a little bit of a different perspective on some things. So Melissa, first, welcome, and thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
The first question is, before we kind of get into all the details, is what trends have you seen in your sales over the last few years with Zest during the summer?
Yeah. So, as Elizabeth mentioned, there's always going to be a little slowdown in the summer. But what we noticed is that it's not the whole summer, right? So the summer gets very front loaded, May, June. I consider May part of summer, May, June, with a ton of parties, right? Meal delivery still goes pretty strong till June, and we get intensely busy in the month of June with both meal delivery and parties. But then once school lets out, meal delivery definitely starts to slow down from mid-June until I'd say mid-August is usually the time around here. Schools here go back either the last week of August or right after Labor Day.
Wow.
So even our clients, the majority of our clients do not have school-age kids, but their schedules still follow that kind of rhythm because I think it's kind of the rhythm of the world in general, at least in the US, right? It kind of all evolves around school schedules. So then so then at the end of August, we get intensely busy again with meal delivery. So really, if we have a quote unquote slow time, it's really July. And that's been pretty consistent throughout the history of our business.
So as far as, and you just talked about the trend of your business, and you said it's pretty consistent over the years.
Mhm.
Whereas myself and then some of the others, just by talking to them, it seems like that they couldn't predict this trend, no matter if they planned for it or not. So do you have any idea, have thought about why yours, for your business, has remained so consistent when others have just seen these huge like fluctuations? Any thoughts on that?
So, I mean, I really have to say that it's a couple things. I mean, one, we've been in January, we will have been in business 20 years. So our word of mouth and referral business is extremely strong. We have a lot of people talking about us on Facebook in groups. We don't even know who they are. We just know that we keep getting people who say everybody's talking about you in this group or that group, or, I consistently hear your name come up in this group or that group. So we are really physically, we are really out there in the community a lot. We live in the community we serve, which I think helps a lot as well, because even if we go out to a restaurant or something, we run into people who we know who either used to be customers or who are customers or who have been thinking about using us. So part of it is just that we have consistently marketed ourselves over the years and our business over the years, such that, we have a presence in this area. So I think part of the reason we don't slow down is that. The other part is that we always plan our marketing accordingly. So come, early spring, we start marketing parties and caterings. And that's the focus of our marketing throughout the entire spring season, because we know that it's kind of falling on deaf ears to market meal delivery at that time because of what's happening in the summer. So that, and Elizabeth and you, and I'm sure there was some other conversation about lists before I hopped on the call. So we always stay in front of our list, not in a nagging sort of way. I'm not saying we email every week or, every month, but it's consistent. We're absolutely emailing every quarter with a specific message. It's never just a random reach out to our audience. There's always a strategy behind it. So with regards to summer, it's always all about dinner parties, catering, and also we'll offer our own pop-up events too. And that also helps offset summer slump revenue. Did that answer your question?
It totally did. You gave me lots of ammunition to say things like, so you can't find clients if you're standing behind your stove, like they're not there.
No, you cannot.
Okay. There's some things that Melissa said that I just want to reiterate is that what she said was consistent marketing. You cannot expect to have consistent clients unless you do consistent marketing. It will not happen. Many of you have tried. I promise you, it will not happen. I've tried it. It doesn't happen. But what I don't want you to hear either is, oh, I don't have time for that. Yes, you do. I promise you that once you get a list together and you at least send them an email with one subject, please use spell check, to that represents your brand. I mean, okay, Chat GPT and AI is out there. Let it help you. Please don't copy and paste, but at least let it help you. Use it as a tool. And there is nothing wrong to get you started with typing into Chat GPT the brand of your company. We are a personal chef and catering company that specializes in X. Please write a newsletter or an email to my list that's one subject. I promise you, it's that simple. Do not copy and paste, make it your own.
Deb, can I add one thing to that with regards to telling ChatGPT about your brand?
Please
Also,
do.
also tell them details about your target customer.
Yes.
So that when it's giving you ideas, it's giving them to you in the voice of your brand, but also in words that your target customer will respond to.
And that's perfect because you can continue to teach it because if it spits something out, say, no, my brand is, no, my ideal customer is, can you resend it? You can teach it. There is zero excuse for anybody to say, I don't know what to write. That's BS. So, Brenda, you shake your head, no, yeah. So anyway, what she said was consistent marketing. List, your list, your list, your list. Okay. Your list is freaking free. An email is free. Social media is free. We have found that if you will just post 3 times a week on social media, connect to Instagram to Facebook, whatever, consistency is the key in social media. The third thing is get out in your community. I know Melissa and Theo have this amazing, is it a kind of a dinner, a supper club membership, and they give you flowers like as a result of it?
Oh, the farm club. Yeah. So there's a local farm who they're first generation farmers and they are specializing in aquaponics, which is growing things in greenhouses versus in the dirt. And they have decided to start, they want to do things a little differently as far as how they want their farm to be a center for community. So community gatherings. So they have created a social club at the farm. And it's a social membership and there's, X number of events a year. And, every other Friday in the summer, you get to go get free flowers as one of the benefits. But yeah, it's really cool. It's brought together people in the local community who might not have otherwise met each other. We joined it because they're very much targeting the same clients we are.
That's exactly an example of what I mean is that her and Theo are out in their community. She mentioned Heather, could you let Tal in or help Tal? She said
I already have.
Okay, she just texted me and said she's struggling.
Oh.
But that's an example of they're out in their community. They're going to restaurants. There's even some charity events strategically that they do as well. They're on the stage. They have a room full of their ideal target market. Guys, listen, none of us, like when we're in our PJs at home on a Saturday, I've got two coming up in a couple of weeks that are 2 days apart. Tasting station, I'm on stage. One is the tickets are $500 a person. you bet your ass that I called and said, "You want some food? Are you doing a tasting station? Can I come join?" And they're like, "Come on." And I'm like, I'll do a live, not silent, live auction item, but I have to be on stage to introduce it. I do not want anybody introducing it. You guys will screw it up." And she's like, "Come on." So, I mean, that is so, so important. Consistency is the key. Melissa, the other question is, do you, so you mentioned there's a month for you that like for us, our summer here in Texas, we start to see just a slowdown mid-May, and then they come back mid-August. So for you, you said that you had a particular month where you planned for it and it's just slow. You know it.
July. Mhm.
Yeah, July. What do you guys do during July?
We go to the boat a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, we just kind of try and take advantage of that time to have some downtime.
Why have you found that's important to grow your business?
Because if we don't, we'll implode.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, every time we go to the boat for the weekend, it's like we just chill out, we calm down, we come up with new ideas. It's just, it frees up your brain space. You have to change your environment. And I'm not saying you have to go away, because I understand like not everybody can go away, but just going someplace different. I mean, go try a new restaurant, go to a new store that you haven't been to before. Go to a park and take a walk, or just meet up with friends for dinner or something like that. But we have to get our heads out of the business and out of the kitchen periodically to really renew ourselves and fill ourselves up. Because if we're not filling ourselves up, then all the other stuff we're trying to do for our businesses, it's really not going to happen anyway. If you're not filling yourself up, you're not going to be happy. And what's the point?
Mhm. So what you're saying is it's okay to not work yourself to death and to step away and take a break, that actually, Rhonda, helps to grow your business.
Yes, and I have to say, yeah, hi Rhonda. Rhonda's one of my coaching clients. I know this well. But I have to say my tendency is to be a workaholic.
Yeah.
So I had to really work on this and really force myself I had to keep reminding myself that it was okay, that you didn't have to work all the damn time. So yeah, even during the week, it's like, you know, I have a somewhat flexible schedule. So if I want to go to the gym, I go to the gym and I don't feel guilty about it, you know? So I work later that night, but the work gets done. But yeah, take time out.
So I want to ask a little bit about that, because I know that there's a lot of committees in people's heads right now with you saying that. It takes a lot of self-worth. It also takes a lot of mindset work to not feel guilty whenever you take that time away from your business. Do you mind speaking to that? Like, did you ever experience that? And if you did, how'd you get over it?
Did I ever experience the mindset issue?
Yeah, and guilt
Oh,
of not just working and taking the time off and all,
oh
because
my
that's hard.
Yes, because my background, like, I mean, I came from a regular business environment into cooking. So, you know, my mentality was, well, you have to be productive and working like 24/7. And even if you're at home, you have to be, you know, the phone has to be on all the time. And, you know, I have to be multitasking all the time, or I'm just wasting time. And I realized I mean, that's just an absolute recipe for burnout. Um, and I became deeply unhappy and deeply depressed, and, you know, did some work to find out why. And that was a big part of it. I was not giving myself grace, and I was not cutting myself slack. I was not building in downtime into my weeks. So yeah, I had to really, how did I get over it? I'm trying to think. I mean, I really had to focus on all the things I had achieved and say, you know what? you're in a really damn good spot. You know, and just embrace that and be proud of it and just cut myself a break. And I just really started to realize that I needed something to look forward to every week. I needed downtime every week, every day, even if it's, you know, I don't feel guilty about sitting down at 8 o'clock at night and turning off the phone and watching TV for 2 hours, you know? And it
Do you
doesn't have to
have,
be documentary. It could be just mindless TV.
oh, believe me.
I watch documentaries too, but I'm just saying, like, I don't feel guilty about binge watching things.
I have watched Big Bang Theory so many times whenever I just nick it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's really, really valuable because and that's the perspective, that's the other perspective that I wanted people to have because when Elizabeth was on the call, she was talking about, you know, doing a dinner party or offering a this or that, or, you know, here's all the ways that you can make money and the creative things creative hotels have done. And what I wanted them to hear from you is that we kind of chill for a month and it actually grows our business. Like it's okay. And that's exactly what I wanted you to say because I can watch some of the faces on the call and they're like, maybe like, yes. Like I've always said before that one of the best things you can do for your business is honestly leave it for a bit, walk away.
That used to be a crazy concept to me. Like I remember first hearing that from you and I was like, what? Yeah,
She just
no.
lost her mind.
But I did it and I continue to do it.
Well, it's also fascinating during those times too, that if you know that the summer is coming, you have a month or 3 months or whatever that is for you, because it kind of is different for different areas of the country. It's amazing. Because I had a business coach one time that said one of the best things you can do for your business is just have the time to think.
Mhm.
And I thought, you're crazy. I think all the time. And she goes, that's not what I mean. Think. Just organically let those ideas come. And that's something that you guys do. And then you can implement what makes sense.
And that can be as simple as going for a walk. Like, I mean,
Yes.
there have been days when I have been sitting at this desk and I'm just like, I can't, I just can't, you know? And I'll just get up and go out somewhere for a walk or whatever, or even go shopping for an hour, like just something to completely take my mind off of everything. And then I come back and I'm like, okay, I can do this now.
So wait, here's the one that's really going to stress people. Do you turn your phone off during that time?
Oh my God. You know what? I had my notifications turned off a couple months ago, all the sounds and everything for something. And I don't remember what it was. I just remember, I think it was the weekend. Like I was just, you know, we were away for the weekend and I was like, I'm not dealing with the world this weekend. I never turned them back on. I never
Fantastic.
turned them back on because I realized that that sound of either the phone ringing or the ding, 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 message, notification, it was giving me anxiety.
Absolutely.
It was distracting me. Who said
And the
that?
same thing on people's
Yeah.
watches. I disconnected
Yes.
my watch from my phone.
Yeah. So,
Wait.
I mean, it was so distracting and it created urgency every time I heard it.
Okay, the better thing is did your business fall apart?
No,
Fascinating
no.
that didn't happen.
Yeah.
It
And
won't.
you know, the other thing is like you feel like every time an email comes in, you have to respond to it immediately.
Mm.
And I realized that, you know, 24 hours is a reasonable amount of time
Mhm.
or 2 business days. Okay. So I do like if I get emails, like I might see them come in on a Friday, I might not answer them until Monday because I need that boundary, you know, or I might only check my Zest emails once a day, you know, because nobody's going to die if they email me at noon and I don't respond until 9 a.m. the next morning. Those are
Yeah.
just conclusions that I've come to over a long, many years of beating myself up.
Well, they're conclusions, but they're also boundaries as
Yeah.
well for you.
Yeah.
And You're also, many people are on the call that will be shocked that the more boundaries and you stick to them, that's the hard part, you stick to them, that you will actually grow your business and make more money.
Now, and
Um,
here's the caveat. I mean,
Yeah.
I do, even though I have those notifications off, I do periodically walk over and look at my phone to see if there's
Sure.
anything. And I will always reply to a client. Always reply to a client. But if that client texts me at 10:30 at night, I do not reply to them at 10:30 at night. I reply to them at 9 o'clock the next morning.
Usually those clients that text you at 10:30 at night, if you reply once, guess when they're always going to text you?
Yes.
10:30 at night.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go over some comments and then some questions for you that are in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Sue says, the idea of planning to not work over the summer is an amazing one, and I'm going to look into more, even just 3 weeks off.
That's great.
Sue, that's amazing. You're going to be shocked of how much your business will grow as long as you set the boundary to truly take it off and not just kind of work and kind of take it off. Either on or off.
Mhm.
Rhonda said a great place to go is libraries, to, I guess, unplug and just kind of take a break. Elizabeth said, we take a couple of weeks off every summer. Dan said, Melissa, this is a question for you. How long did it take to get to the point of building that into your scheduled downtime?
How long did it take to build downtime into my schedule? Was that the question?
Hey, Dan, unmute yourself and just talk to her.
That's true. I can do that.
I can.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm like taking it like to heart because I grind 7 days a week, 7 days all the time. I don't have time to think. So this concept to me is like, oh my God, build downtime into your schedule. And I know that's future state and we'll get there, but you've been in business for a while. How long did it take you to get to that point where you could build in this downtime to your schedule?
So Dan, remind me something, because I think you and we met on another call. And if I recall, you were like a year or two into business. Is that correct? Self-employment?
That's
And
correct.
and
Yes.
you're from the restaurant industry?
No, I'm from
Or
South Jersey. I'm not that far from you, actually.
no, I
So
mean, but your background is restaurants?
corporate, and
Corporate.
I
Okay.
formed my company 2 years ago.
Right. Okay. So corporate. So Dan, really what I did the first several years of my business, I had a young child and he also played travel ice hockey. So my life was not my own regardless. Right. So once he got older and could drive, let's see, I don't know, 10 years into business at that point, 5 years into business at that point. Um, I took the mentality from corporate that, we in corporate, you have days off, right? And you have vacation time and you have all that stuff. And I kind of was like, well, why wouldn't we have that in the food industry? Like, so to me, I just adopted that as a principle of life that you should have downtime and vacation. So yeah, I mean, I worked like nonstop for the first 5 years of this business, absolutely nonstop. And I'm not saying that that was the way to do it or not. That's just the way I did it. But yeah, I mean, once you start to, once you have your foundation in place, I mean, yeah, build in the time. I mean, but like I said, it doesn't have to be, I'm kind of backpedaling a little bit because when I look back, there was a lot I missed out on during those 5 years. So if I was me now, then I would have built in downtime from the beginning.
Right now,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, absolutely. You don't have to wait,
Thank you.
and it can be simple downtime, whatever makes you happy, something that fills your cup.
Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So yes, permission, Dan. I'm giving you permission.
Because we all know if your cup's not running over, it's the running over that allows you to share. If it's just full, you still have nothing to share. It's the extra that runs over. Dan, it was one of the things that I wish that I had done 21 years ago, is decide my business office hours and my personal office hours and stick to them. I wished I had done that 21 years ago. Elizabeth said, I make self-care a priority, scheduling in advance continues to help. Then you can schedule your work around it. She said it works, walk away so you can think about the big picture. Rhonda goes, OMG, same. Elena said, yes, giving yourself permission to take downtime and feed your emotional self has definitely been what's helped me grow. This time on maternity is so much calmer than the first time around because I actively planned for it and no guilt about stepping away. Jonathan says I have to travel somewhere new every 3 months. You and me both, sir. I have made a commitment to myself to have self-care. It really helps to take your mind off things. I have a team that I can trust that will make sure clients are taken care of. I always tell my team, don't text me or call me unless it's an emergency. I say if my kitchen's burning, that's about the only way because they should be able to take care of emergencies. They have all the tools to be successful in the kitchen. Amy says, and we'll get to this question, and then we'll head on to our next speaker. Amy says, can you touch on well-meaning guilt trips within personnel? How to handle transparency with your team without over-explaining or taking too much precious time to justify every move. The process of becoming an owner, rather than an overwhelmed operator, doesn't always click, but you still want people on your team to feel supported. This is a question about training and those practices as well. Amy, if you're able to unmute yourself and just have a conversation with Melissa, that will help too. But Melissa, do I need to reread the question or do you think you have
I
it?
think I can't see Amy. I'm trying to see, but I think Amy, what you're getting at is you as the business owner have guilt about taking time away and how that's perceived by your team. Is that am I hearing that correctly?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, um I don't have video on, but
Okay.
yes, it's kind of maybe unique to different personalities of owners. So personally, one of my team members was like, and that's a close friend, was like, you could be more of a hard ass. And I guess I'll be, if I'm looking for coaching on that, there does come a point where I can understand or feel the concern, but I still need to go do something else and they should be trained, or like, no, I can't stand next to you while you scoop muffins. And like, we have a meeting on the spot about this or that. Like, I'm trying to, stay on a schedule and implement things. And then I guess just training people to take over what you're doing. This is a complex question, more like a conversation idea. Fitting in the training people, having the trust to walk away, them not, I guess, feeling abandoned for some weird reason. That might come down to the person you've hired not being the right person, but I'm really glad to be here and hearing that people feel guilt at all. And like in that
Amy,
summer, I thought summer was just slow for me. This was a big step for me to just listen to other people in the business.
Amy, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. And Melissa, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt before you answer that. Amy, I can stay on with you and unpack this whole thing after this workshop. So if you want to stay on, I'm happy to talk with you one-on-one. Only because
Okay.
we have to get to the next speaker. But Melissa, can you pull some sort of a quick answer
I
maybe
can
out of
just
that?
real quick, yeah, because it is a huge topic, and
I
think
know,
it's
I know.
straying a little bit from what we were gonna talk about here. A lot, actually. Not just your question, Amy. Sorry, we got way off topic. But
No, yeah, I
it's,
totally understand. I'll stay on
it's
after.
very hard. It's very hard training people. We've had mixed success with it. A lot of it comes down to personalities. But yeah, I would definitely get into all of that with Deb. You know, you have to do what you have to do to build a successful business, and not necessarily, oh, I'm going to hurt every millennial's feeling in this thing. not worry so much about how they think or feel about it. And I don't mean that you don't take it into consideration, but at the end of the day, you're the boss and you know what this business needs to move forward, right? So if there are people on the team who are not doing what they need to do to move your business forward, you have to kind of strip the emotion out of that and make decisions based on what's best for your business in terms of training people and responding to what they need or want and what you need or want as a business owner. It's a very broad brush answer. I mean, there are about 15 different elements to the question that you asked that
We're gonna,
that like could be covered over a year of coaching, to be quite honest.
yeah. We're definitely gonna unpack that because, and Melissa, thank you, but it honestly, it does sound like that you're worried about being everybody's friend and not their leader.
Yeah.
That we can talk about. Before we go to our next speaker, I know, Crystal, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question? Crystal, can you hear us? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, Crystal, we do see your hand raised, so we do want to get to your question. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna introduce the next speaker, which is Jordan Pearson. And then, Crystal, I will come back to you just in case you're in the middle of something, but we do want to get your question answered. So, and then if everybody, if you'll kind of look in the chat too, because there's comments from Jennifer Russell to, Sue talked about having a different line. There's some helpful hints in there as well for some downtime. So we're going to move on.
Can I real quick, when you had asked me to speak, you had asked me about tips for avoiding the summer slump.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Can I have just a minute to go over like a couple specific things?
Absolutely.
So one is if you are experiencing that summer slump, do a very honest evaluation of why that is. It is very easy to just go, well, everybody's away, and just throw your hands up, okay? Yes, everybody's away, but there are things that you could have been doing in your business throughout the year to market your services for the summer. So really look at what are those downtimes consistently over the past couple years, and what can you do strategically to offset that. And I'm not saying fill in that slow month. I'm saying all throughout the year, what can you do revenue wise to build up enough business that is not going to hurt you so much in the summer when you have the slump. And the other thing too, and people who I work with in this group know that I tout this all the time, cash is king. You have got to know your cash flow. You have to learn to understand the ebbs and flows and the ins and outs of your cash flow throughout the year, and then manage that so that when the summer comes, you have a cushion and are prepared. If that's not something you're comfortable with, your bookkeeper should be able to do it for you. Your CPA should be able to do it for you. There's also some, I know, great expert teachings on this in the vault.
Yeah.
So yes, have to get a handle on your cash flow. It's a huge part of managing any slump, be it summer, spring, fall, doesn't matter the season. That's all I have to say about that.
Thank you for stopping me because that's a very important point. Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome. Thank you all. Have a good one.
It looks like Crystal didn't have a question. She said she just accidentally pushed her little hand. So we're good.
All right.
I'm going to introduce Jordan. Jordan, thank you for your patience. As you can tell, the questions and stuff with the speakers that we could be on here for hours. So again, thank you. I want to introduce you guys to Jordan Pearson. She serves as the program director for Chow, bringing with her an impressive 12-year tenure in the service industry. Her diverse experience spans from fine dining to breweries, giving her a comprehensive understanding of the field. Jordan's true passion lies in helping others, which aligns perfectly with her role at Chow. There, she dedicates herself to connecting industry professionals with essential resources and fostering a safe, welcoming community. Her work at Chow allows her to leverage her extensive industry knowledge to make a meaningful impact, supporting and uplifting those in a field she knows intimately. So, Jordan, first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here and taking time with us. My first question is actually not one that I sent you, but an easy one. Tell them what Chow is, please.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Deb. I appreciate that. So yeah, I'm Jordan. I use she, her pronouns. So Chow is a nonprofit. It stands for Culinary Hospitality Outreach Wellness. We are very big on acronyms, as all of us are in restaurant industry as well. But we are, yeah, a nonprofit that focuses on folks in the service industry, getting them connected to mental health resources, talking about substance use, harm reduction, the good, the bad, everything in between that comes within working within this industry. I'm really nervous. My hands are sweating. Was that a good enough introduction? Yeah, sorry. I'm like, this is, yeah, a big group to come into.
This is such a chill group, believe me. Like,
Okay. Okay,
seriously,
great.
I
Okay.
mean, you didn't see, but like Elena had her baby on the call earlier. Like,
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. That makes me
it's
feel better.
totally a chill group. So,
Okay.
um, your company gives back to those of us that are the givers because we all in culinary are givers. That's the
Mhm.
reason why our love language is to feed people. And sometimes we often give too much of ourselves. Heather's very happy about that because she does not like to cook. So, I know as business owners, we feel like we give even more than that when summer hits because we have a tendency just to, oh my God, I have people to pay, or these other things. Emotionally, it can get really hard to stay positive. And I often receive many phone calls at this time of I think I may have to close. Like, this is the hardest summer ever. Any tips or advice you can give when summer hits for just a healthy mental mindset? Because this
Yeah.
can be a very scary time.
It really is, and life ebbs and flows in so many different ways. But the beautiful thing is that we are a complex houseplant with organs. If we are having a hard time, there are small things that we can do that can help improve our mental health, our mindset. We can kind of trick our brain, which is nice in a small way. What we tell ourselves will constantly be feeding through our brain. So even though times are very hard and very tough, if we do take the downtime, as Melissa was talking about, and really focus on some glimmers in your life, that can help get you through the really hard times. Another good thing to do is to sit and process those emotions, those feelings, schedule out a time to do that. When we are constantly go, 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 and this is sitting in the back of our mind of, I might have to close my restaurant, I can't do this anymore. That becomes that overwhelming feeling of anxiety and dread, and that can trickle down to your team members, to your family life, to your other friends. It can be detrimental in that way, but if we do have a moment to take a pause, to find a glimmer with, to remind ourselves that this is happening. Yes, this is life. This is what's going on. But we have something to look forward to, and really prioritizing, self care and even self soothing in the moment can be very helpful. Um, yeah, that's kind of yeah.
That's actually very helpful because it's often a reminder, but I know that all of us as caregivers and then entrepreneurs, and the givers that we talk about as well, sometimes it is really hard to stop and, in the moment. I've had mentors before that have talked to me about everything from, box breathing to, you name it. And I think that as an industry, we haven't allowed ourselves those tools. Because we're constantly just in go, 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 and then we completely burn out. So it's a
Yeah.
it's a huge reminder of that, but how do you or I know that you've seen this before,
Mhm.
even though they're hearing these words, they all
Yeah.
are. a lot of times it's about permission to
Mhm.
stop.
Yeah.
Anything you can speak to as far as that is concerned?
Um, you got to give it to yourself. You got to be honest with yourself, to do it. And again, that may be hard. You may feel guilty about it. You can do it. Put it in your schedule. If you miss it that day,
Schedule it.
great. Put it on the schedule the next day. Keep doing it until you feel comfortable doing it. The more you have it in a routine, the more you are going to get comfortable with it. The less you will feel guilty about doing that. The more you're going to prioritize yourself and be able to name your feelings, sit with your feelings in hard times, but also see some glimmers of hope on the outside of what's going on. So it's difficult, but it is, you got to be a little selfish with that as well. And
You
it's
know what?
okay to be selfish.
It is,
It
because
is.
honestly, one of the best pieces of advice I ever gave or received, and now, I give that advice is, I called one of my mentors one time and I said, I am so upset, like over whatever fill in the blank, that all I want to do is cry. That's all I want to do. And he said these words to me. He said, so do that, but decide when you're going to stop.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought, holy crap. So not only did you give me permission to do this, you also did not give me permission to stay there.
Yeah.
So
And
that was,
it can be hard, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, feel your feelings in the moment. If you don't have time to feel your feelings in the moment, schedule it. Again, I know it sounds so silly, but it's, I schedule my mental breakdowns. I work in mental health. I cry probably every single day,
I
to be
love
honest
that.
with you,
Schedule your
but I
mental
do.
breakdown, y'all.
Yeah, schedule your breakdowns. It's okay, but be consistent with it, It's I know that I have a packed week. I'm going to be burnt out by the end of this week, but you know what? I scheduled a massage for myself. And I honestly forgot about it because I scheduled it a month ago. So that, it's just something like it's okay. And I would love for that to be on a t-shirt. Schedule your mental breakdowns. I'm here for that.
Done. Done.
Yes.
I'm the queen of t-shirts, believe me, because we have
Yes.
yes. So schedule your mental breakdowns. That is going to be like the theme of this entire summit. I'm going to kind of flip the script a little bit.
Yeah.
What can we as bosses, leaders, and owners do to help our employees with the possible loss of wages from lack of hours or lack of business for the company they work for? So, because it's not our fault, and I know as a business owner having, some odd 15, and sorry guys, they decided to mow my grass at this particular time. So if you guys hear it, I'm so sorry. But hey, it's not a hurricane like Elizabeth was trying to do this summit through. But I know that I feel I try to find as many things as possible to give them as many hours as possible. Sometimes, I mean, and that really screws up my labor costs during summer, but it's a bigger picture in order to keep them. But I sometimes just don't have the words to explain to them and help them be okay with it. Any kind of thoughts around that you can help with?
I think just being empathetic and being, you know, fully transparent and honest about it. Again, that may sound crazy, but us as business owners, we've been in their position. We have worked our way up to be the owner. So we do understand exactly what this feels like and how hard it can be. If it's not too much of a cost for you, you can start offering family meal, so at least your employees have that, and that can kind of create a community together as well. And just, let them know like, hey, if you need to get another job because of this too, that's perfectly fine. We can work with your other schedule. And just listening. I think a huge thing is listening to them and showing them that like this is a tough time again. But hey, holidays are coming up. We're about to get our butt kicked for all of this. Like it can be so hard to have that ebb and flow. But if we know about it and we plan around it, again, I'm like a big schedule. Let's plan when we know that we're not going to have enough money. When I was completely full-time bartending, I didn't save anything. Are you joking me? No. I made rent in a weekend. So why am I saving my money? Because it's always coming in. But again, just being more transparent about maybe that's not going to be happening right now. And I think just being honest and open is, it sounds like a simple answer, but it can make a big difference for your staff. Because you, again, you can't give them more hours necessarily if that is too high of a cost for you, if that is, no one's coming in, food costs are high, everything like that. Like, it, just listening and saying, I'm sorry, this really sucks right now, but it will get better. Is there anything we can do to support you? And ask them what they're needing as well.
Jennifer, one of the things that I did, this summer that I came from a completely different mindset on is I sat my staff down and I said, guys, this is what this, cause when I saw, like, we literally had a time in May where 12 of my clients said, hey, we're gone for the summer. 12, within like a 3-day period of time. And I saw what was happening. So I sat down with my staff and I said, listen, I said, if I think what's coming is coming, we're going to do all we can to make sure that you have as many hours as possible. And I said, I want to reiterate the word possible. I said, the second thing is I want to make sure that you understand as well. And this is what was very eye-opening to my staff is, what can you do that you see that needs to be done around here that you can offer as far as extra hours? Have you seen forever the kitchen needs to be deep cleaned, or the tires need to be rotated on one of the delivery vehicles, or the oven needs to be fixed, or the whatever? So this was the first time ever that I took it off completely me and said, what do you see that needs to be done? Let's talk about it. We'll give you some more hours. The other thing about being transparent is this is the first time ever that I sat down with my staff and I said, this is how much your payroll is collectively. This is how much we brought in last week. Do you see that there's a $5,000 negative? I need you to understand that I'm not just cutting hours, because I said, you guys see the clients that we still have. You guys are doing the math. I'm sure some of you have said, okay, we have, 30 clients this week multiplied by, we'll call it $500 operating cost, what we brought in. So I started doing some kind of financial literacy with them and sharing numbers, and it changed their concept of, okay, well, holy crap, Deb's not getting rich, at all, much less, going on vacations or, taking this big fat stack of a draw. No, she's trying to make sure we get paid. So I'm really glad that you said that. That's hugely valuable. Last question, and then we're going to open the floor. By the way, Amy commented, she said, brilliance. Jordan, let's see, child, you did a great job. Okay. Rhonda said that needs to be on a t-shirt. So schedule your mental break, your mental breakdown. Sue said, note to self, schedule massages in advance before you need them. Okay. Just tell us, some of, and actually, I think that there was in one of the mastermind groups, somebody had asked, Rhonda, I think it, might have been you. Now they're weed eating right outside my window, so I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. Rhonda, I think you had asked, after you kind of get your ass handed to you, during the catering and you've worked for the past couple of days, what do you do as far as afterwards for downtime or to kind of heal yourself? So this is a topic of conversation. So Jordan, tell us about resources that are available through Chow, and how best to use them.
Yeah. So our main resource that we want to give to the community is our peer support groups. We have 6 different ones throughout the week. They are all hybrid, so folks from anywhere can join. We're based in Colorado, so most of our meetings are on Colorado time. So just note the time difference. Wherever you are, but it is just, again, that safe space to talk about, damn, I just worked my ass off. I can't, I can't get through this weekend. What do I do? Like, and it's someone else will be like, yeah, me too. Like, let's just talk about it. Which is one of our mottos too. But in our meetings, we started off with kind of setting the space, and then we do an icebreaker to get used to sharing, and then we actually do a temperature take. We ask folks how they're feeling on a scale from rare to well done. So rare, meaning juicy, full of life, ready to take on the day. And then well done, you've been on the grill for far too long. You can't take it anymore. We kind of joke that chow can be the sauce on top of a well done steak. It may not be awesome, but you can make it through. And I'm so sorry if any of you like your steak well done. We can talk about that later. But it's just a way for us to start checking in with folks and really talking about what it's like to be in this industry and having to go 24/7, 365. Um, we also have, sorry, I lost my train of thought now. But I think that's one of our main things that we can do to help decompress, and one of the main resources that we offer, um, just to have that safe space to talk about it. You can word vomit everything that's going on. It's nice to just have someone that listens, and everyone that runs the meeting is a peer. So they are in the industry. We have specific pop-up meetings for owners, managers. We also have all women, all men, only Spanish speaking. We just started one in Washington, DC. If you want to join hybrid, you can also, just listen, turn off your camera, change your name, and just hear what other people are talking about and what's going on. That kind of gives me a little bit more of a that I'm not the only one that's losing it right now. We all kind of are, which sucks, but we can be in it together. We also do one-on-one resource brokering with folks. So if someone is struggling, looking for a therapist, if they just lost their job, do they need a place to make sure that they have financial compensation? Are they needing more food? Are they needing a place to live? We can't necessarily provide every single for sure 1,000% option, but we can sit down with that person and offer them those resources and do the back work on that. Because when you're in that mindset too, that's the last thing you want to do is look through pages of resources. That's something that we love to do for folks. It's very enjoyable for us to connect them with exactly what they're looking for and take that back work out of the picture for them. We also offer mental health training specifically for the service industry. Typically mental health training is very cookie cutter in a box, but it is something that we created as restaurant folks. It is made by us, for this community. So we talk about specific things that are happening throughout your day. We talk about the 8 ingredients of wellness and how we can improve those. What even are those? We talk about scripts for hard conversations. We talk about, being assertive in your communication, all of that. And that's nothing I ever did when I was full-time in service industry. So it's just a nice thing that we like to offer to the community because we realized how much it was needed and how much we could have benefited from it when we were there.
Thank you. Hugely valuable. And I'm trying to make sure this community has more access to not only for themselves, but also to mental health resources. I'm really glad for you to come on and talk about Chow. We've had the Burnt Chef project out of the UK come. I know that's what's kind of become really popular here in this area is called the Southern Smoke Foundation, who is doing so much now with mental health awareness for our industry. Hugely valuable because this is just such an industry that for so long the norm has been to work yourself into a wall. I mean, just work to make as much money as possible. And then you keep working to make as much money as possible. And no one ever gave you permission or helped you with the thought process of you've got to have a break. So many times when I work on pulling these business owners out of their business so that they can become we have this it's actually trademark now. It's called From Behind Your Stove to CEO. The one of the big sticking points here by my window again. One of the big sticking points in that is the mindset of stopping, the mindset of scheduling office hours for 2 days, even a day, but then at minimal, a day to do nothing, just nothing. And that is such a game changer to get people into that CEO position, but it really has to do with your mental health, your mindset, the committee in your head, how much you think of yourself. Because we all grew up in a profession that's frowned upon.
Mhm. Yeah, it really is. And it's hard too. I'm like, when we work ourselves like that, our body's gonna force us to take a break when we finally can't take a break. It's how many of us get super sick at least 2, 3 times a year, because we're go, go, go. We're not scheduling our massages before we need them. We're not scheduling our breakdowns before they happen. It's really also when your day of doing nothing, give yourself permission to be okay with that. I have so much anxiety and feel guilty that I'm just sitting here scrolling on TikTok. But honestly, I know that a few hours later, I'm going to be able to have a conversation with someone again. Because it's the mental break that I need. So whatever that may be for you, and try new things when doing that too. TikTok isn't for everyone. Is it the healthiest thing that I've done? Probably not. But going on a walk, is huge. It's nice. I never walked when I was in service industry. I'm walking the whole day. Why would I go on a walk, go to the gym, anything like that? So try something new. Keep it small, simple, and if it doesn't work, try something else. It's okay. It's okay, but find what works for you.
I was telling somebody the other day that when I know that I've been working too much is I start paying attention to the type of music that I can tolerate. Because let me tell you, most of the time I am into some head banging metal bands like that. That is my thing. When I notice that the only thing I can tolerate is spa music, that's when I'm like, somebody's about to die, so I gotta go do something because this is not working for me. But I
Yeah,
should do something before we get there is
yeah.
really and truly what should be happening.
Oh, I just wanted to mention one
Oh,
more thing, Deb. I'm so
go
sorry.
for it. No,
There's
go.
another thing that we offer as well, that we help with as a mental health self-service plan.
Mhm.
So it may seem silly, but you write down when you are in a good mindset, feeling awesome, who are your people that you go to? What are the things that make you feel happy? What are your triggers? What is going to bother you? I have that honestly on my fridge because I know when I am burnt out, I don't remember that I can call my best friend. I don't know why. But my brain just doesn't allow me to do it. So having that written down and available is actually very helpful. And again, we're planning ahead for it. Because unfortunately it's gonna happen. But we want to make sure that we are set up for success so it doesn't have to be a full burnout and it can just be downtime. Yeah.
Those visual examples are actually really huge. What I've done, and I didn't realize it until you said it now, is of course I have on one side of my refrigerator pictures of my grandchildren, but I didn't realize it until now why I left pictures up of some of our coaching clients, like children and grandchildren, because they'll send me pictures, when they're born or, whatever big events. And even my husband asked me the other day, he goes, "Who are all these people on the side of our fridge?" I'm like, "Those are my babies." And he goes, "Okay." I'm like, Just leave them there."
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
like I have like Elizabeth Bourget is on here. I still have pictures of her granddaughter Anastasia. Like her granddaughter is not an infant anymore. Like when you guys send me pictures like of kids, they go there and that's hi. And that's why. And um I was talking to this amazing therapist the other day, and she said that it has to do with the concept of, before we get too crazy, of this, of this inner child and kind of protecting this inner child and making this inner child very happy. And she said, why would you treat one of these children on your fridge like you're treating yourself right now? I'm like, okay, shut up. Like, nobody need to bring reality into this situation. I know it's what you're here for, but that's a little too real right now. But it's factual. It's very
Yeah.
factual. So, okay. Any questions for Jordan while we still have her here? I wanted to read just a couple of things. No more toxic, Jennifer Russell said, no more toxic behavior in our industry. It's long overdue. Elena said 100%. You can either choose when you take a break or your body will do it for you. That is so factual. Crystal said burnt out from cafe ownership with leads to cancer diagnosis, which I knew this before. Wow, Crystal. That is not the first time that I have heard that. I actually sold one of my companies one time because I went to my doctor at about 8:30 in the morning and my blood pressure was 190 over 90 something. And he sat me down and he said, it's 8:30 in the morning. And I said, okay, well, it's got time got to do with it because you understand who just pissed me off, and then somebody cut me off, and then like I have all the stuff to do and he's like, it's 8:30 in the morning. And I just remember him kept saying that, and finally I went, okay, look, we gotta make some changes. We really, really do. And it was about the same time that my husband loved me enough to come to me and say, if you continue to run Savor like this, you and I will not make it another year. And I thought, well, damn, here's some wake up calls.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's very valuable, very valuable. Okay. Any last words or comments for Jordan? And if you don't have any, just put some love in the chat for her for coming on today and helping us out. Oh, you got hearts. So let me look. Okay, lots of hearts. Okay, Jordan, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Hi, Jordan. Nice to
look
meet
like
you face to
others
face.
Yes, nice to meet you, Heather. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, everyone just, yeah, be selfish about it. Take care of yourself. You matter the most. And if you aren't able to keep going with it, find someone else that can, it's okay. It's okay. But take care of yourself first. Also, if you're burnt out, your whole staff's gonna feel it. And it's
True.
okay to take a pause. I just want to keep reiterating. It's okay. Give yourself permission. Find what works best for you. Come to a chow meeting. Come talk about everything. Nothing is off limits at our meetings. So yeah,
Can you
feel free to look. Yeah.
Can you put the website in the chat as well so that they can go and look up those meetings and other resources also? That would be helpful. Thank you. Oh yeah, Brenda already said link. So
Yeah.
love the work you're doing.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. It's,
Awesome.
yeah, chowco.org. I put the website in there, but yeah, feel free to, yeah, if you have questions or need direct resources, you can also email me. And we can connect that way. So
Perfect.
yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it. I
for
hope you have a
an
great
amazing
rest of
job.
your day. Yeah.
Amazing job today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Jordan. So, what we're going to do next is two things. I'm just going to pass along some of the things because most of you guys hear me speak all the time, but I don't know if you've heard me talk about some specifics of some changes that I made and just some realizations that I came to and I learned about that's really made a difference in Savor And then from there, anybody that wants to stay on and ask any questions, I'll stay on and answer your questions as well. But I learned a lot this summer because total transparency, I was shocked of what happened at Savor this summer. Shocked. And I thought that I was doing everything correctly because I did everything that we talked about. I was out in my community. I pay a company to do social media and my marketing very, very well. She's great at it. She nails it. I mean, we did that. We had list emails going. We did it all right. And then I thought, okay, well, what the hell? If I'm doing it, where is everybody? What happened? And so I spent probably about 2 weeks researching. I interviewed clients that went on vacation. I interviewed clients that stopped services. I dug into every boring, wordy report that you could possibly imagine for the culinary and hospitality industry. I scoured Facebook posts. I was on a mission. Should have published something and gotten some type of PhD after all this was done, because my Lord. And there's some conclusions that I came to. Here's the conclusions that I came to. Is one, I was doing all the right things. I was checking the boxes. I had best people in place. One, what I wasn't doing is I wasn't directing the marketing efforts. I was not in that marketing. So yes, we talked about how, tomatoes can help with prostate cancer. And yes, we had the marketing correct that during summer, we didn't really market personal chef services. We marketed catering, just like Melissa said to do. What was happening though is Amanda doesn't work in this business. I do. I know this business well. I created this business 21 years ago for specific purposes. So what I really realized is I wasn't necessarily doing those things of differentiating us. We were a culinary medicine company, wasn't enough. Great customer service, wasn't enough. Food pictures beautiful, wasn't enough. What wasn't happening is we weren't telling client stories. I didn't say Savor could help with this. We weren't telling client stories because that's what matters. So my team now, I was able to give them more to do because not only did I pick a client every week that I had onboarded now or in the past, doesn't matter. They don't know the difference. I sent their story to Amanda. I sent pictures of their unique menu to Amanda so that they could see that, the cauliflower steak now went with the something and the other somebody was vegan, no oil, but the kid wanted meat and potatoes. There is a visual representation that set us apart. And then what I did is Abby, who's my client concierge, she's an amazing photographer. But even when she wasn't able to do it, we figured I helped my team to take better food photos. We sent Amanda these food photos. So week after week after week, our marketing changed to a story of a client. That's what matters. What doesn't matter is that the food is pretty, or, here's a line of carrots, or, the Smith family was struggling with food. It didn't matter. That's the stuff that's starting to matter. And I can watch our analytics grow. And more people were paying attention, more people were sharing. The other thing that I really realized is that because we serve, most of us, a higher end clientele, we chose a market that had available income to leave whenever they wanted to. So it's great that the economy and whoever's going to be president and all that other stuff. It's great that we talked about that. But we chose a target market that the economy did not matter to their pocketbook. So they got the hell out of Dodge. They left because the economy didn't matter to them at all. So since the economy didn't matter to them, we started changing our messaging that said, when you are back in town for a week, let us know. We'll send over a service just for that week. And then you can go back out of town the next week. Because aren't you tired of eating out? We changed our messaging to be everything is in last minute. Because I figured that if they went out of town last minute and stopped our services, that they would be back in town last minute. So all of our messages was, we don't mind last minute. It helped. It also helped that we do private flight catering too, because guess what? They were flying last minute. Now I had to talk to my team too, because they're like, Deb, we can't take flight orders that are with 24 hours or less. I'm like, you bet your ass we can this summer. Do you want hours or not? Like, pick one, bitch, or take the hours. Up to you. So, everything, but I told my staff, we're gonna get a lot of last minute stuff. We just will. That's the nature of how our ideal client makes decisions. It is. Now, one other thing that I did, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't done this in 7 years. Boy, I did it this time. So I went back and I did some traditional print marketing. Yes, I did. I picked the one magazine that is the most influential high-end magazine. And they first told me that what I wanted was $3,000. I found the owner on LinkedIn and I said, first of all, I'm not going to tell you to be ashamed of yourself, but we're going to talk about that right now. I need more because this is what I do and who I serve. What can you do for me? He still charged me $3,000, but he added some stuff in. So, and whenever they kind of dropped the ball on my contract and didn't get something out in time, I called them back. No one answered the phone. However, you could click 7 to talk to the owner of the magazine. And I'm like, it's me again. So that one $3,000 ad has produced, last week it hit. Because not only did they did an ad, they did a email blast to 20,000 people. I got 15 food questionnaires in 3 days. The other thing that I did is I found the biggest influential moms group on social media in town. Happens to be a company, it happens to be something here called Tanglewood Moms. And I said, do you have list emails of all these people? She said, yeah. I said, do you have a marketing package? She goes, no. I said, we're gonna put one together. I'm gonna help you. Watch this. So not only did I send her, well, Amanda sent her a copy on the exact post and how many, she sent an email blast during a specific time for a back to school promotion. Anybody that signed up got 3 snacks, 2 servings for 4 weeks. It's like a $300 value. We got 12 food questionnaires in 3 days. Did you know nobody wanted the snacks? Not a single person wanted the snacks. So, out of the blue, there was a company that is a magazine. This is very influential neighborhood. So there's like a pocket. Think of like Hollywood, what Hollywood is to kind of LA. It's kind of this pocket. There's one here. It happens to be called Westlake. that's where the professional athletes live, and the people that don't want you to know they live there, and you know, all the other stuff. So, they had a magazine that I found, and I thought, well, this is interesting. But before I reached out, the editor called me and she goes, this magazine is by invitation only. I said, nice sales technique, create the creativity of it, but you're kidding me, right? Like, this is not my first rodeo. Come to find out, I called some of the people that advertise in the magazine, and they're like, yeah, like we had to ask to we had to ask to advertise, and they told us no to begin with. Because you have to be in business for a certain amount of time, your brand has to look a certain way, you have to understand a hiring clientele. And so I called her back and I said, let's talk a little more. And she said, okay, what we can offer you is X, Y, and Z. I'm like, that's fantastic. How about you offer X, Y, and Z to me for the same price point? And she says, we have to do that for 3 years. I said, no, thanks. Because I said, however, I'll do it for 18 months. I won't do it for 3 years, because this was July 30th, and I know you have a quota to meet. She said, okay, I'll send you the contract. So not only did I get a full ad, I got a full advertorial, and it's going to happen once a month for the next 18 months. And I'm going to be a sponsor at their vendor events twice a year. And I got another advertorial. All my ideal clients, $300 a month. It's negotiable. So, and that has not started yet. It will start in about a week. But going back and doing some of those things that are outside of traditional marketing is huge. It's paying off, because I figured if buyer behavior changed, where people are now wanting to hold on to their resources necessarily, instead of spending it on things like personal chef services and catering. I figure that if they didn't have time to have parties and do stuff like that, they're probably flipping through magazines and social media and reading emails. And so far it's paid off. Like I said, we have a wait list Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now. And I'm hiring 3 new people this week. So my poor team is so stretched, and I'm doing everything I can right now to help them out. I've even had to step back in and plan some menus. I've had to step back in and help my admin. I've had to step back in and do things. But the first thing I said to them is, this is temporary. I'm going to do this for the next 2 weeks. It's your responsibility to find people so that I don't have to do this anymore. So this is paying off. So I'm going to carry this throughout the year so that next summer I don't ever go through that again. Does this make any sense? Okay. What I want to do right now is just open the floor for any questions that you may have about what any of the speakers said or anything that I just said. And you guys know at this point, well, not all of you, because I do see some new faces on here. This is a safe space. This is very conversational. This is in no way is this group going to judge you for anything that you say. So if you have a question, let's hear it so that we can all learn from each other. If you have a question, unmute yourself. Okay.
Did you say that ad was $30,000 for the
No,
magazine?
honey, it was 3,000, 30,000.
3,000. Okay.
Who's got that much?
Yeah, right. Okay, that's why. This is where I'm at. Like, I'm listening to everything you're saying. Great. But I'm like, I am so hand to mouth. It's like, I know I need to do that. And I have magazines in very influential areas that, that my clients are, but I can't afford it. So, this is where I'm at. I'm dying. And we'll talk about that after the call, but yeah, I know I got to get that in. I took good notes here, and you know,
Hey,
that's
Dan,
all.
I'm gonna offer some advice real quick.
Yeah,
One of the reasons why you're dying is because of the words you're using.
the words I'm using.
Mhm. You literally said you were dying twice. That is something that you are putting out into the universe, so you will continue to do so.
I'm just tired of working 7 days a week. I'm burning out. I listen to all these people. I'm burning out. I'm getting tired. I'll move forward. I'm just saying, I'm a human being.
You are.
That's where that comes from. But I do my, you know, I lay there in bed when it's quiet and I throw it out to the universe. I do. I just said that right now because that's what I'm thinking about listening to you. So yeah,
Dan, we're gonna talk some more here in just a little bit, when everybody is off the call. But you are going to be surprised, changing the language you use will change your reality. Very
okay.
much so. We'll
Uh,
talk some more about that. But you also need to hear, we've all been there,
I know.
and and at times, we will be there again, feeling the exact same way that you do.
I know.
The
I
difference
know.
is
That's
you
why
can
it's good to
say
be
it.
here with these people and
Good.
air it out, you know, and you know, we're here now. In the future, we won't be there, but we need these skills that you're teaching. So that's why it's very much appreciated. Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome. We're gonna talk some more about that. Brenda, do you have a question? And now that it's just us, well, and even people that are new, but welcome to us, I'm gonna eat now, so keep going.
You're welcome. I know we have our call tomorrow, but there's never enough time to talk to you or to get into your brain. Even though I have you on speed dial, you know that for a fact. I just got, it's interesting that you say about the magazine because I got a phone call from the Rolling Stones magazine. And I want to know. I mean, yeah, I never thought about contacting the people that are in the magazine to see the results and how, which that was a great idea. And I've been contemplating the idea of, like you said, like paying for ads. It's just a matter of trying to convince the other end to not charge so much or to get something for the deal. Um, how do you manage to convince the other party without sounding um greedy or, like, okay, I want the business, I want to make money, but I don't want to pay you, you know what I mean?
The answer is no unless you ask.
Okay.
That's just seriously what I go into, because the worst this human being in front of me can do is say, no, we charge what we charge. I'm like, I can respect that. At that point, it's my choice to use them or not. So and you're not greedy whenever you're standing up for your business. What I've learned is there's some industries that it's never as stated on their contracts. Us, pretty well stated on our contracts. We charge what we charge. Our boundaries are X. You have to let us know by this time if you're going to cancel or final head count or whatever the thing is. Okay. But there are some industries where there's unpublished wiggle room. The advertising industry is one of them, and so is the real estate industry. There's always wiggle room and negotiation. Always, especially if they're up against a deadline. And you bet your ass, whenever they screwed up and they kind of dropped my contract at Fort Worth Magazine, I called the owner and I'm like, so I already told you my situation. And on top of that, now you guys have cost me money because you delayed my ad. And that's all I said. And he goes, what can we do to make this right? I said, well, I happen to have a list. And so he got to choose from the list, basically. But we have to vet to begin with. Just because they're a high-end magazine, they serve your target market does not necessarily mean you should advertise in them. There's a lot more things that go into it from that. I reached out to another high-end magazine. Is actually their competition. It's called 360 Magazine. She's actually in one of my networking groups. And she said, "Hey, did you get my contract?" I said, "Nope." She goes, "Okay, let me send it again." A week later, she goes, "You get my contract?" I said, "I sure did. I signed up with Fort Worth Magazine because I never got your contract that you promised. I have to see this woman every Thursday." And she said, "What can we do for you?" I said, "Well, come about the middle of September, we're going to talk about what you can do for me because I'm happy to advertise in your magazine for the holidays." So what you have to know though is that if you're going to put out this outlay of money, then you have to be ready from a brand perspective because they will go to your website first. They will. That I promise you. You have to be ready from a brand perspective, and you also have to be ready from an infrastructure perspective. If you're not going to call them back for a week, don't do this. If you're going to miss their email for 3 or 4 days, don't do this. Because all you did was pay a whole lot of money to tell a whole lot of people that you're not where you should be in business. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions? Looking. Okay. You guys have my number if you have any questions at all. Heather, for those that are off screen right now, I'm not being new to the group. Could you put my email in the chat? For those of you guys that are new to the group, because I see some new faces, and if you're listening to this recording and also new to this group, I'm putting my email in there for a reason. It is actually deb@chefdeb.com. I tell people, follow up with me, use it. Did you know that no one does? I've been doing this for almost 8 years now. So you have a resource, it's there. That's why I'm giving it to you. Those of you guys that are in coaching, you have my personal cell phone number. You shouldn't struggle. There's no need for it. No, I'm not too busy to take your phone call. So I want to thank all of you guys for joining us today, and you'll be sent the recording as well. The other thing I need you guys to know is, Heather, can you put in the chat about Sharpen the landing? Yeah. So for those of you guys that have been asking, we are about to launch all the advertising for Sharpen that is regularly here in January in Fort Worth, Texas. It is coming to a very, very cool event space called Soma Winery. Jonathan is so excited. And the winery does not only amazing wines, but they also do amazing coffees. And they will bring either or to you at your table during the entire workshop. However, I'm going to tell you right now that I'm going to limit when they can serve you wine. So, because I need you to listen and not fall out of your chair or go to sleep.
Dawn and I will make coffee for you guys.
Yes. So yes, Jonathan is going to make coffee. So, there is, whenever you click on the link too, for those of you not in coaching, there is some early bird pricing that, is going to start, I think now, because this is the first time that we are announcing it. If you have not been to Sharpen, it is one of my most favorite events to do all year because I get to see your sweet faces. And in Texas, we say I get to hug your neck whenever you walk through the door, whether you want me to or not. It just, part of it's going to happen. Just know if you sign up, that's a benefit. And but Soma Winery is very cool. I chose it because of the experience for you.
And the green couches.
And the green couches, that Rhonda and Ruth already have a spot reserved for that. Rhonda, I have a spot reserved for you on the green couch sitting next to Ruth, apparently. Okay.
And
well,
Jonathan, please look in the chat and take down these dates.
So, Jonathan is so eager to
You
come.
are not allowed to get
I
there
already
earlier
have them on my
anymore.
calendar.
So, I would love it, because this is one of the most favorite events to do all year. It really helps you with the foundations at the level you're at or your next level of foundation. Please share this with people and share it on social media as well, because there's a lot of business owners out there that are struggling, and you guys can tell by the price point for it and what I do for you guys. This is not a money maker for me. This is a heart space for me, but I do have some bills to pay that, kind of like, it's called event space rental, it's called AV rental, it's, staff, all of those other things as well. So please share it. And if you're a coaching client, of course, you come for free. And then we do some cool stuff the night before. There's usually a really cool dinner that we have somewhere, and then coaching clients stay for that last day. We do a really deep dive mastermind. So the link should be in the chat. I can't see the chat right now.
This.
And, okay, let me know if you guys have questions, and you guys are going to start to see the promotion for that now. So,
Rhonda, I'm sitting next to you, so save me a spot.
oh, okay. So, Elizabeth, I saw you raise your hand. Are you on the couch too?
I'm wherever I feel like I need to be, as long as Jonathan's with me.
All righty then. See.
On time this time, not earlier and not later.
So,
I need a table and a desk for my laptop.
so, okay. Also to let most everybody know, some of you know, some of you don't know, this will be, the one of the last events that Heather is coordinating. Heather is no longer, Chef Deb's business manager. She has stepped into the role of only client manager.
That's
So
because I love y'all so much.
she is our client manager, so she will be only loving and caring for you guys. And our new business manager is named Liv. So you guys will meet Liv at some point. And
She's coming to Sharpen.
she is coming to Sharpen. She is helping us do some cool stuff at Sharpen. We are hopefully bringing in a t-shirt person, as well as a pop-up tattoo studio and some other cool stuff. So all is Sharpen. I know. So I have to tell you a funny story about tattoos before you guys go. So they're potty training my granddaughter Stevie, who is one of my favorite people in the world. Okay, all my grandchildren know, I'm just saying she's one of my favorite people in the world, not playing favorites. And they're having struggles potty training her, and because just, jelly beans and things aren't working. And both of her, my son and daughter-in-law, have tattoos, and she kept trying to finagle a tattoo out of them. So they're giving her temporary tattoos as a benefit to potty training. So to say that's kind of cool. So anyway.
Oh God.
So my little granddaughter's going to daycare. She's like covered in tattoos, but hey, you know what? It worked. It worked. So whatever. So
I had
anyway.
to bring gifts when I visited last week for my granddaughter, and I said, "You poop in the potty," and I got another one for you.
Nothing about bravery. It's all good. Whatever works for them.
Is there a code for the Sharpen for coaching clients?
Yeah, hang on one second. That's going to be going out in an email to y'all. Give me 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'll just text it to you. I got to pull it up to make sure I give you the right one.
Okay.
I can't remember if the date is on it or so. 1 sec.
Sure.
One of the at this particular Sharpen, one of the presentations I'm most excited about is using AI, integrating it into different areas of your business, from menu planning to label making to marketing to chatbots on your website to all kinds of things. So saving you lots of time and money. So, and if you guys know me, you know how much I despise technology, and the mere fact that I'm doing this should tell you so much. So,
Well,
I know. Okay. Heather, are you putting something in the chat? Are you done?
yeah, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
One, over.
Don't give me a single second.
You asked for 1 second. You didn't ask for
If-
5. You
If
said
you
1.
guys, if anybody needs to go, please step off. Heather, what are you putting in the chat?
Well, Jonathan, I'll send it to you, but the coaching has a coupon code, but I think that I'm looking in Thrivecart because I think that we changed it so that I could know the date of the year so that we're not applying codes across years. So if you give me 1 second, I
Oh, no,
wanted to
take
put
your
that on the
time.
chat. Because other people that want to go ahead and sign up, so you need to get signed up. I want everybody to have that coupon code. So it's just for coaching only, just so you know, because it comes as part of coaching. So give me a second so I can add that in here. Okay, here it is. That is for coaching clients only, simply because they get to come to Sharpen for free as part of their contract.
It's coaching 25, so coaching all capitals and then the number 25. So coaching 25, if you guys
Yeah.
need that or need
Just
that.
put it in there.
Yeah. So
Right.
Just sign up so we know you're coming. Is the faster we get head counts, the better.
So, thank you everybody for joining us. And Dan, if you will just stay on the call for me. Okay, bye everybody.
Bye,